6 is on geometric series. What does it mean to be geometric? From one term to the next, you're multiplying. Now, if it's a series, you take those numbers and then add them together. Now let's go back and refresh on the formula for a geometric sequence. It's A1 times your R, which is your ratio, that's what you're multiplying by, to the n minus 1 power. And when we're finding the sum, what special symbol do we use? Sigma. And what goes at the bottom of sigma? N equals 1. Then at the top is however many terms you're adding together. And then to the side is where you put this formula. So this first few questions says write the following sequences in sigma form, which means I'm going to find the sum and then I'm going to evaluate for this many terms. So in this case, in number 1, it's 4. So let's start with sigma. N equals 1 on the bottom. What goes on the top? 4. Then I go to this formula. What's A1? 2 times my R. So what do I multiply by each time? 2 times. So it's 2 times 2 to the n minus 1 power. Just like with arithmetic, you always leave the n over here in your formula. The 4, we've put it in its spot on top of sigma, so it does not go double places. How do we get sigma in the calculator? Math 0. And I can use the letter N or I can use any letter I want. I think it's faster to use the X button. So X equals 1 to 4. Two times, and then I'm going to put my own parentheses, so parentheses 2. If your ratio is a positive number, it actually doesn't matter. If your ratio is a negative number, then you will get the wrong answer if you don't put in parentheses. So I just try to do it all the time so that you all get in the habit of doing it. And then it's not usually an issue. The big thing that I see is some people see this parenthesis that was already on the outside and then they arrow over. That will mess it up. You can't do that. When it starts its parentheses, when you hit math 0, you cannot go outside of that. So close your own exponent x minus 1. And you get 30. So we have sigma, n equals 1 to 7, A1 is 2. We said the ratio is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. Times 3 is 18. Times 3 is 54. And then n minus 1 goes in the exponent. Math 0. 2,186. Does anybody need help getting that in the calculator? Number 3. We're finding the sum of the first 10 terms. So sigma from n equals 1 to 10. What's my first term? 80. What's my R? Well, all right, so if it was 2, if my ratio was 2, my next term would be 160. It's not. Okay, the next thing I heard was -2, which is what most people say. That's still not right. We are dividing by 2, but with a ratio, I can't say the ratio is 2 because that means multiply. So how do you write it if you're dividing by 2? 0.5 or 1/2. So if you are dividing by 2, your ratio is 1/2. If you divide by 3, your ratio is 1/3. If you divide by 7, your ratio would be 1/7. Yeah. Now, a decimal is okay sometimes. 1/2 as a decimal is 0.5. That's fine. But 1/3 is 0.3 repeating, and I do not want you to round because you will not get the right answer. So if it is a repeating or if it's a long decimal, make sure you put it in fraction form. So put 1/3 instead of 0.3.
So basically just
yeah, it would be more simple if you just always put it in a fraction. But all right, so 80 times 1/2 to the n minus 1 power.
Oh my gosh, I put in my calculator 80 divided 1/2, and I was getting 160.
Yeah, you still gotta always put times there. 80 times. How do you get to a fraction? Alpha y equals. Yeah, a fraction or a decimal you would get here. That's normal. So check to make sure that what you typed in the calculator is what I've typed in.
We don't have to put the times, do we?
No, you can do without it. And you get 5,115 over 32. Or if you had used 0.5, you would have got this, well, let's see, that decimal. Number 4, we're finding the sum of the first 6. So sigma from n equals 1 to 6. What's my A1? -2 times. What's my ratio? What do you multiply -2 by to get +8? -4. If you do not put that in parentheses, you will not get the correct answer. If your R is negative, thank you. It has to be in parentheses. So what I got here on the calculator is what you should have in your calculator. And we get 1,638. Are there any questions? All right, now there was a separate formula that would work instead of sigma, but we're not going to do that. We'll just skip it and go down here to questions 5 and 6, and then we're going to do a few on the back. Now these look a little bit different. For example, instead of being separated by commas, I went ahead and put the plus signs in there to indicate that we're finding the sum, and it says S10, and when you see the capital S, that means the sum. So we're finding the sum of the first 10 terms. So that means we're going to need sigma from 1 to 10. What's my A1? Nope, 4. Times, what's my R? It is 5. So if my first term is 4, and then 20, 100, 500, I'm multiplying by 5. So to get from one term to the next, it's times 5, and then an n minus 1 exponent. Yeah. So math 0, x equals 1. It is a big number. 4 times 5 to the x minus 1 power. We get 9,765,624. Any questions? All right, number 6. It says S8, so we're finding the sum of the first 8. So n equals 1 to 8. What's the first term? 81. What's the ratio? It is 1 over 3 because you're dividing by 3 to the n minus 1 power. So what I have typed in is what you should have typed in. And that gives you this fraction. 3,280 over 27, or 121.48. Now there are 6 questions on the back, but I only want you to do the evens. So work on questions 8, 10, and 12 by yourself. Number 8. This one was pretty straightforward. The answer was 26,611. Any questions on that one? that's not what you got, look to see what you typed in. It could have just been a simple mistake. Number 10. From 4 to negative 12 to positive 36, you're multiplying by negative 3. So your ratio is negative 3. And we get an answer of negative 59,048. Are there any questions on number 10?
No.
Number 12, the ratio was 1/4. You're dividing by 4 every time. So that's the same thing as having a ratio of 1/4. And you get 2,730.67.